Hello, welcome to my channel, Antoinette here. This is my October reflections in my tarot journal. For those of you who've not been here before, it is quite simply, as it sounds, flipping through the pages of my journal, see if you get any inspiration on how to decorate your own pages, or maybe even some prompts for your own journaling. And this is a Stalogy half a year A5. I've had it since July, so it literally is going to do half a year. I think it should get me right to the end of December. I might have to stick 1 or 2 pages in, but other than that, it's doing very well. I'm pleased with it. So for October, I have my just washi tape. I put a passport in here for the whole lifting the veil, traveling with ancestors, and the fact that I was off on a few adventures myself. So I put a passport in here just for some fun. And this is just a washi sticker. And then my card of the month and my oracle of the month from my year ahead spread there. I listed an awful lot of decks up here. Didn't use half of them, so don't worry about that. I've got my new moon intentions, my full moon intentions, and I haven't put a quote there yet. I might come back, I might not, I haven't decided. So this week is a bit kind of jumbled because different things happened this month, not this week, this month. So I haven't got my usual kind of prompts in here because I had other things in here instead taking up residence. So on Friday, that would be my weekly reflection, although I haven't written it down here for the keen eyes among you that normally see that. And I've used the Halloween tarot for my sort of week ahead spreads and reflective spreads, like my weekly spreads, so to speak. So what we were looking at on Friday the 1st was what was the energy of the week, what did I miss, and what can I incorporate? And there's my 3 cards, you know, with a few keywords in there, and then I've journaled a bit more about it here. On Sunday, I've just pulled an oracle card. I've pulled Lady with a Bosch Egg, which is about ancient wisdom, and I've just written a bit about what I felt about that card. I can't remember if she comes out of Les Vampires, or I think she might be Shadows of Oracle and Light deck. Honestly can't remember. I haven't written it down, but I will go back and check for my own purposes. But for you guys, if you recognise it, then you'll know which deck it is. But I do like that card. She comes out a lot for me when I use that deck. And then my week ahead spreads sort of look a lot like this, where I have picked an image for the month because it's a very inspiring month. There's plenty of images to use, and why not? And then I've 2 colours, or sort of 2 tones as I'm going through. I also have been using my stickers in here because I bought them a long time ago and I've got them. And they are obviously Rider-Waite based. And although I was using the Halloween Oracle, which doesn't look like this, it's very much this way inspired. So that's why I've used these stickers. Any deck I use predominantly leaning very much like Rider-Waite, I'll use these stickers for. And other ones with very different imagery, I don't. I would love to have the patience to take photos of all of my decks and every card in my deck and create sticker sheets for myself, but I can't. I haven't got the patience or the time or the inclination. I'm just too lazy. What can I say? I'd rather just draw my symbols and be done with it. Because even sticking these in takes a bit of time, to be fair. Anyway, enough of the moaning. So this is how it kind of went. Although what I didn't do on this one was I didn't leave room to put an oracle card. Yes, I could have shoved one in here, but I like a bit more room for the oracle. So this was just tarot spread for the week. Then Dawn Michelle at BohoTarot started doing the Lifting the Veil prompt for October 2021. And that's different journaling prompts and card prompts and spreads. So I started this one, and this is why my spreads throughout the month are a bit all over the place, because this kind of went in place of some of my normal weekly check-ins and midweek check-ins. I'd put one of these in instead rather than doing multiple spreads. So the Lifting the Veil was prompts exploring some of the following themes. So our self-reflection on ourselves, wisdom and our connections to kind of angels, ancestors, that sort of thing, confronting our own fears, which is called a haunted house, and there's a graveyard, you know, releasing and surrendering things that are going on in your life. And yeah, so we just went through doing all the prompts. For some I used oracle cards, for some I used tarot cards. This is the Deviant Moon, 4 of Swords, for anyone that's familiar with the artwork here. We have the mirror image spread, which was 3 cards with an ABC prompt to go with them. And that's how I chose to do the reading. There was no set way of doing it, but that's how I did it. This one I used the Oracles of Shadow and Light and the Dark Grimoire Tarot to do this one. So that's making me think that my lady with the Bosch egg was possibly Oracles of Shadow and Light. We had a reflective reading. So using the 3 words from our Mirror cards selected previously to create a spread. So that picture here, my exhaustion, peace and quiet regeneration, you use to make a spread, so you can see it there, exhaustion, peace and quiet regeneration. And then I created my own questions and then created my own answers to go with the spread. Here we have Saturday. So Saturday I pulled a card to see what was going on. So we had card of the day, which was the underworld. And then I've just written here, what do I need to do to bring more peace and quiet into my day? And I've got the keywords here as transition and judgment and how I bring those forwards with me. And embrace this change with an open heart and joy is what I've written here. And that's the Samhain, which is oracles. On Sunday, I actually pulled a tarot card instead of an oracle card, and I didn't do a self-care check-in spread, but instead I've just drawn really big on my page. You can see it for yourself. There's nothing fancy going on here. And then I literally, I drew afterwards, I think I drew all this on after I had written on the page. Very interesting. And here we have a week ahead spread. I've changed it up from the previous one. I still have my pumpkin. I have alternated my colours to orange and green. I've added some green washi tape in between and some orange glittery washi tape on the bottom. And then I've left space this time. I remembered to leave a bit more space for my oracle cards. MitchellOsbourne did a past live spread on YouTube, and it was also on Instagram. And here it is. So I've written the spread out here. I did it twice because the first one I did was with the Dark Grimoire Tarot. Sorry. And that was very awkward for me to read pictorially because it's such a dark deck. It's more, I think, definitely more shadow-esque than it is reading into what went on in the past. So I have drawn it up. I've got it here so I can come back to it and lay it down at any point that I wish. I just couldn't, I couldn't read the cards independently, like individually. What I got from them was a general feeling instead. So when they're all laid up, there's a lot of cards. When they're all laid up, I just got a feeling, and the feeling was that I was some kind of protector, somebody who helped people, somebody who had information, knowledge. Was what I got from that. So perhaps even somebody of counselling, or who knows, maybe even a witch or a pharmacist or something of those kind of lines. And then I redid the spread with a antique Rider-Waite deck. And on this one, it was much easier for me to see, but interestingly, very similar feelings came out. I felt like whatever it was, I was a mysterious person. I was a seer, a seeker. I was somebody who held knowledge, somebody who gave knowledge, somebody people came to for help. So that was interesting on both of them. I got a similar thing. And also very interesting, both first positions, which is what was your gender in your past life. I was a male. I was 4 of Pentacles on both spreads. So that was quite interesting to see as well. So back to lifting the veil. So we have the hearth gathering, and this was who will sit behind you at the sacred hearth. A little bit of explanation on what to do, how to undertake this one, and then pulling a card and basically, you know, feeling out who you felt that card was representing. And so I felt this was my grandfather, so I've written that down here. Then we went on to the Hearth Wisdom spread, which was 5 card spread, so you can see my 5 cards in there. My kind of key take-home words here was creating stability and prosperity in the home was my spread here. And this all linked to the 8 of Cups card that I had over here from my Hearth Gathering. So Hearth Gatherings became Hearth Wisdom, and that's that card there that you see, which I've done in purple as my spiritual card. And I felt like drawing a fire, because why not, for hearth and home. Then we have the Hearth Reading and Reflections. Again, that one leading off of the 8 of Cups here, and some kind of further journaling prompts. Then I have the Emerald Lotus Flower Samhain Tarot spread, Communicating with Spirit, which I've drawn up here. This one was a Deviant Moon spread. Interestingly, so I've mentioned my granddad in the previous spreads, and in this one he came through again. So he was my Sleepy Demon, which was an oracle card from the Black Enchantment Oracle, and he was number 37. And the question was, card to describe the spirit who wants to communicate with you. So Sleepy Demon, I instantly got the Ancestors, Swords, Granddad. And the fact that it was veil, somebody from behind the veil, somebody who's passed away. So that just made me chuckle. I like it when Tarot and Oracle does that to you sometimes. Here we have my week ahead spread again. So we have a cauldron. We have, I've just stuck to one colour throughout this one, and then black is my other colour. Some doodling around here. The blood moon was on Wednesday. I went on a trip on Thursday to Boscastle for the blood moon retreat, which was amazing. If you ever get the chance, go. The museum, Witches Museum, is now shut, however, so it opens again in April, I think. Check their websites, don't quote me. And this little doodle here came off my Marie Masquerade card. Then we're back to the Lifting the Veil spreads from Dawn Michelle. So which cards haunt your table? So cards that come up the most. So I just had a look back through what I pulled throughout the year. That was relatively easy to see. We have the October full moon in Aries from Ethany, one of her full moon spreads here. My takeaway message on this one was show discernment. Just like my haunted house. And then I had treated myself because I started a new job in September, and I treated myself with a bit of extra money that I had earned to a photo printer, like a little Kodak printer thingy, whatever you call them. And I took a picture of my spread and stuck it in. It's not something I'll be doing every time, but occasionally you might see these crop in when I'm feeling lazy, because that really does decorate the page a lot quicker. Anyway, that was my message of wisdoms for my check-in, my Wednesday check-in spread. Because I was going away and I'd completed my week, I did my weekly reflection on Wednesday evening before I went to bed. And this one was what went well during the week, what didn't go so well, and lessons to implement for the following week. When I came back on Monday afternoon from my weekend away, long weekend away, I did my week ahead spread, and you can see it's evolved again. So we've got two doodles, and I've got my little doodles in between with all the wording. My oracle advice is here, and this time I wrote a little verse from the This Is Halloween tune, which is it on Nightmare Before Christmas? I don't know. Anyway, This Is Halloween. It was on, do you know, the film was on over Halloween. I can't even remember. Then back to Lifting the Veil. So we've got Lifting the Veil spreads, Haunted House spread, or Haunted Reading. I mean, if you're interested in these types of spreads, then you do need to contact Dawn Michelle. She's on YouTube as well, at BohoTarot on YouTube. And she has tiers, membership tiers that you can join. And in one of those, she does these monthly, or is about to start doing these things monthly with people, which means that they won't be as many in the Facebook group as what she's been trying out with us. So if you wanted to continue with those, that's how you can do that with her. And then Gerald from Tarotstache and longmantarot did a YouTube video, and it was I've called it the Halloween spread, but they were looking at the end of the witches year moving into the witches new year. So we had 4 prompts, which was previous season's message, the energy closing, the end of the year, the energy building for the start of the year, and the new season's message. So I chose to write that down, do myself a little spread with them. So thank you guys very much for that. On the 27th, I have pulled a card. I was feeling very purple, clearly very spiritual. And I've just drawn 2 cards. So I've drawn the first image and parts of the second image on there, and written about it here. And my takeaway from the ritual card and the reflection card was bringing in who you are with what feels natural will bring amazing changes into your life. My weekly reflections, we have a weekly reflection. How my experiences have changed me this week. What lesson did I learn? How can I embrace this in my future? And I added an extra card in here for what advice does Spirit have for me, because I came back from my time away and all my meditations and learnings. I wanted to know a bit more about what was going on, and I feel something's changed, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Then we have the graveyard spread. Sorry, from Dawn Michelle, which of course, have I mentioned it yet? These were all under the hashtag lifting the veil, and I think some of them are on Instagram as well. So you can see I've drawn the spread onto my page. I've drawn my cards that I pulled down the side, question, and then my text in there. And I used the Hush Tarot for this one, interestingly. Then we have the death reading, which was using the death card, the card above and the card below, or whichever way around that all goes. And for this one, as you were shuffling, you shuffled in your intention for what you wanted to know from the death card. So that was your intention, not what the death card means. So you dropped him out, and then the cards either side. So we had what we were releasing and what was the spark of light moving ahead, to go with that kind of intention that we were dropping out. And then she gave us some prompts to explore it, exploring the death card further. So what is your relationship with the death card? How can you work on releasing the old shadow, like your fear of the death card, if you have one, or your problems with the death card? And then how can you fuel the growth of the light from the death card moving forward? So the whole transformation thing that goes with death. So that's there. And then we're into November. Ha! We're done. So that was my October. So again, different, yet slightly consistent. So my week aheads are there. I've stopped doing my month aheads. I've got my week aheads. When I can, I put in my weekly reflection and my end of week reflections. But let's take a look at the cards I ended up using in the end. So we had this one from the Deviant Moon. Put it this way because we've got lots of shadows. It's really dark here. We just had a massive rainstorm. So this was the Paradoxical from the Deviant Moon, which I used for a couple of my spreads, but not many, to be fair. I didn't get to use it as much as I was hoping to, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I don't just use this one for Halloween. I kept it for Halloween, but I will use this throughout the year. This one isn't really just because of the images. This one doesn't scream Halloween to me. I just felt it was special because of the colourway, and I wanted to keep it for a season to make it feel, give it the feel factor. So this is the Patrick Valenza Deviant Moon Paradoxical borderless deck, which is out of print. So don't shoot me for showing it, but you can get the standard colourway, which is still in print. That's still one of my favourites, the Little Witch. And there's the death card, talking of the death card. So, yeah. Okay, so that's that deck. I think I used that one for a few of the lifting the veil prompts, actually. Then I did use this one for a few. So the Hush Tarot by Jeremy Hush. This is an amazing shadow work deck. The book is what makes it more so. It's not got a lot of writing. It is a very small book, but it's a powerful book. So just those little bits of information that you get for the cards, that's enough. It's enough to make you think deeper about what's going on and differently about the card and the numerical valuation of the card, rather than just your standard sort of thoughts and feelings. So I mean, that's the Hermit. That's a very pretty card. Yeah, we have the World, Death, Page. This is our seven of Swords. The Wheel, 8 of Swords, 5 of Swords, the Moon. These are beautiful, these cards, and the Sun is the other one that's really gorgeous. Here's our Queen of Cups, 2 of Cups, 2 of Swords. For those who aren't familiar with this, that's why I'm actually saying them out loud. 5 of Wands. So the only thing with this deck, just to point out for those of you who aren't familiar, is, those are your symbols. That's your swords. That's your batons or wands. Although if you were to look at that, you might think that was swords, so you could be forgiven. Sorry, you might think that was your sword, so you could be forgiven. But yeah, so. But it's a beautiful deck. It's very autumnal in feel. It's very autumnal colouring to me. It's got that kind of dark, moody skies that we experience here at this time of year. And there's our King of Pentacles. Look at that. That is an amazing, beautiful, beautiful card. But yeah, so that was the Hush Tarot, which I used for a couple of spreads. Not many, but it was there. Ready? Then we have the deck that I used for all of those week ahead spreads that you saw, usually my weekly reflections. So it's the Halloween Tarot in a tin. It's a great fun deck. This is the one that I use the stickers to correspond to, although these would be amazing on stickers, to be fair. So if anyone does these on stickers, please let me know. I can get them for next year. So it's just a really fun deck. And the images are perhaps some of the closest that I've seen to your standard decks. 8 of Bats. So yeah, this is a really fun deck. Really enjoy using it. The images do not put me off at all. I love the kitschness of it. I do like a bit of orange, to be fair. That old joke, orange, you glad you came? I'll get my coat, don't worry. So yeah, really had a lot of fun using that one for the month. I wanted to get as much use out of it as possible because it is very themed, and I'm not sure how much further into the month I can get away with using this one, to be honest. So I was sad to put it away, but it's gone. Then we have this one, which comes with a great book. And I've talked about this a lot. This was my main oracle deck it became, so much so that I forgot I'd even used the other one until I went through my book with you. And this is the deck that I do use this probably up until around Christmas time, to be fair. And that's a reflection card. That was one of the cards I got quite a bit of. Ancestors I got quite a lot. Crystals and herbs I got quite a lot. The ritual came out almost weekly for me. So it was really, really interesting. I've got protection, haunted, nature spirits. It's just a really nice deck. The messages are great. You've got your little messages on the bottom. I don't use them. I very rarely use the messages on the bottom. I normally use the messages in the book. So you get keywords in the book with the cards. Then you get like a write-up about it. So this is about the broom or the besom. So you get a write-up about the card. You get like a sort of upright meaning, and you get a reversed meaning to the card as well. So you can use it in more than one way. But because here, this time of year is very dark, and this is the time of year where you do kind of retreat, you go into yourself, you go home, you make lotions and potions. And this would be when people will be making things from their storage cupboards and preparing for the year ahead and doing things indoors that they can't do when they're outdoors. So almost that kind of going to ground and hermiting. I find this works very well with the energies here of winter. So I do, yeah, I probably use it till about 21st of December. And then we had the Barbara Walker Tarot. Surprised me. I use this one for my daily pulls. Every day I use this deck. And some days I dropped out a few cards, some days I just dropped out one card. I did ask it a couple of times for some help with, I wanted to create a crystal grid. And if I find the card, I will talk more about that because it was very interesting. You might see the fun side of it, you might not, but sometimes the messages at the top made sense and other times they kind of didn't. So I didn't dismiss them, I kept them in mind and wrote my own words if I felt I had my own words to go with them. This deck was quite straight talking for a deck, so I'll just put that one down a minute because I think it was that one. I think I had that one. But yeah, it's a magical deck. I can't explain it. It is very magical. Obviously, if you're not into folklore or kind of having a magical practice per se, this may not be for you. If you don't like non-diverse decks, again, this might not be for you. But it does read really well. It's an old deck at the end of the day. It was created a long time ago. And Barbara Walker is very good at what she does. Okay, so I think that was all the cards. So let's quickly talk about what we got. I can't remember if she was there. She was on the bottom. Okay, so I asked the deck because I wanted to create a crystal grid, and I wasn't sure how to do it. I wanted to create a crystal grid to work with the ancestral energies that are meant to be around in October. And these cards came out. Now I did ask, I think I asked more than one question, and kind of how should I do it was the last question. And this was the last card that came out. Now I read this card quite simply by picture and what she was pointing at. So she was pointing at a star shape. And there was also a star shape here, and on the bottom of the deck there was a star shape here. And I know this one says doom, but ignoring that word there, I was just looking more at what I was doing. So it's telling me to create something new and to go for it. The Ace of Pentacles as well, like new. So it's creating something new, something I haven't worked with before. Those were my cards. If I can get this down for you. There we go. So my crystal grid skull. And I don't know if you see, I had kind of laid them out in a circle, but I hadn't noticed that they were in the shape of a pentagram. And what I did do is I've dropped rosemary in a pentagram underneath and using the skulls to weight them down. And then I used my own intuition as to where I wanted to put the skulls and how I wanted to position them. So we've got tiger's eye, quartz, golden healer, amethyst, mookaite, and then I have a merlinite tower in the middle. But I just thought that was really fascinating. So this deck, I don't know, I'm still bonding with it, but it's a very magical deck, not to be dismissed. I don't think. It still commands your energy, and it goes really nicely with this. So even when I just put, so some days I'd, pull a card from here, and then just as an afterthought, I'd chuck a oracle card down as well. These went so well together, like on a daily, and those are ones that I don't always record. So it's just, they just went nicely together. So Ace of Swords and Divination. Well, if it doesn't look like she's doing some divination there with a sword, we've got the moons in the background. They just went beautifully together. So we've got our protection, our circle, we've got a snake in there, and then we've got somebody over here making potions and spells. They just went beautifully together. Here she is looking in the dark. We've got a little bit of light there, and we're being told to greet the darkness. Third harvest, we've got stormy skies. Here we have the King of Cups sat on his throne with stormy skies in the sky, obviously, because they're stormy skies. But you can kind of get the idea there. So we have the frog. She's kind of sat behind what looks like a little fortress. And then over here we have a little fortress, and there's a little arch window at the bottom there. And she's got candles of light there, like the yellow, and they almost symbolize that to me. So that could be 3 pillars of candles. But it was really interesting. I enjoyed playing with these, which is why they became my main focus decks actually throughout the month. And although I have put Barbara away, I call it Barbara, although I have put this one away for the month now, I have no doubt it's going to be coming back out at some point, making itself known. And as I said, this one probably won't be going away for a little while. It will continue to remain in my rotation for another month and a bit, I should well imagine. So that was it. That was all of my decks. I think I've talked for way too long. Oops. There we go. Definitely time to go. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.